Many episodes of Night Gallery came very close to the comic book horror style of the 1960s and 70s. One of them that really stood out for me is something called A Feast of Blood. Now, the Feast of Blood was part of the ever great season 2 of Night Gallery, which was the best season of the 3 seasons. It's episode 16. Now, this also episode includes as well the classic episode Lindeman's Catch about a part-time mermaid, and the late Mr. Pennington, which is kind of a macabre episode talking about a wife looking for a cheap funeral for her husband. Now, Feast of Blood is basically the most British of the Night Gallery episode, other than the doll in first season. Now, this has a very basic non-romance plot. Sandra Locke plays the beautiful Sheila Gray, who's basically a husband hunting, and she's been recruited by the much older and the much more debonair Norman Lloyd of Hitchcock fame, of course, and St. Elsewhere fame. Henry Mallory has a lot of money, a lot of pull, and basically he's been pursuing Sheila and Harmona Badley, the Mary Poppins great supporting character, trying to convince her daughter. Henry got money, he's got power, he's got wealth. Sandra basically is using him to play off against another suitor called John. Now, Norman Lloyd, in response to the, not say full rejection, but the partial rejection, decides to give the Sandra Locke character a very strange looking brooch. Like from far away it looks like it's a concentrated rat or weasel within the brooch. Now, Mallory describes what the brooch entails, and even though she doesn't want to marry Henry, she continues to go out with him, kind of pulling together, a double-edged sword. Now, she basically tells him, I've been leading you on. This is not going to happen. And he basically says, well, I'm sorry, but something might happen. And he takes away the latch for the brooch and says no matter what happens, it can be never taken off. And we find out quite sooner than later that the brooch has supernatural powers and is about to bring forward his ire against the Sandra Locke character refusing to marry him. Now, I don't want to give away the last of the episode, but you can pretty well figure out by now it's not going to end well for the main character. And it's basically an anti-woman episode, but the fact is the Sandra Locke character is so vain and self-centered that what's about to happen to her is not a surprise. It could be a man leading on an older woman too. It goes to both sides. But Norman Lloyd plays against type here, because normally Norman Lloyd, he's played some evil characters in the past, but Norman Lloyd, for the most part, is known to be a very debonair, a very intelligent and caring character. It's hard seeing his doctor, Auslander, and St. Elsewhere being so evil in this episode. But what really stands out, the acting is very British. It smells more like an Alfred Hitchcock Presents or Tales Unexpected. And for most people who see it the first time, are they saying, are you serious? But Jeno Schwartz, who's a great director, makes it work. I would give this episode 3.5 stars out of 5. You pretty well know something bad is going to happen to the main female character by the end. But one of the most interesting moments of the episode is how the denouement is discovered by, of all people, 2 drunks. And as a person that used to be a bouncer, as a part-time job, I recognize that trope from 50 miles away. In many cases in British horror, the discovery by a drunk or a poor person was a trope within the show, and in this case it works. Now the special effects in here cut back on the possible 4 or 5 stars, because basically it plays out the thing in question as very bad special effects. Now why I mentioned Norman Lloyd about the Alfred Hitchcock Present. He produced Alfred Hitchcock Presents in the 50s and 60s, and it's his character portrayal of Henry is kind of a tribute to the Alfred Hitchcock Presents style, because the British style of developmental horror is a lot more concise and cerebral than the American horror, because American horror is basically copious amounts of blood with no center to it, while the British style does have blood, but there's I know it sounds weird, but there's a reason for it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, on this latest Screenshots Night Gallery podcast, we appreciate the support. There's many Night Gallery podcasts on my channel here. Please give a comment, like, and subscribe. The channel is not monetized. I'm not making extra money from these subscribers, but I appreciate any feedback you give, because I do it for the fans, and all the fans of Night Gallery who are also followers of my TV print column over the years. You're well appreciated, and thank you for taking the time to take a step back into the Night Gallery. Have a good day. Bye.